But basically what we want to do is to make sure that as we go along the process, as you know, we've accomplished maybe 5 things or 6 things, whatever. So can you consolidate them into a policy and a procedure kind of and I don't like policy and procedure manuals, to tell the truth, sorry. But you can consolidate them so it becomes a procedure type of thing. Or it's that they're not isolated or individual, but people can start to see how it all fits together, that as we start to do these changes to a respectful workplace, to a positive workplace, that really one is dependent on the other and that there is connectivity between them. So you need to consolidate that so people can see that connectivity. And then, of course, as you really get down the road, you do develop that policy procedure manual. And there's some fantastic ones out there. I've seen different organizations, some international organizations. They have they call theirs the Code of Business Conduct. And in that, they expect their employees to be respectful to each other, to their customers, to their clients, to whoever. And it's the way we do business. Other places they call it a code of conduct or a code of behavior and so forth. It tells the employees what's expected of them and what they can expect of their employer. So those will be developed as you go along the way. And then evaluate. How are you doing? Are you making the progress you wanted? And don't be discouraged if you're not. There's no real timeline to this because you're looking at attitudes that you're trying to change. You're looking at behaviors you're trying to change. And it takes time. Just as we heard Wilson this morning, safety is hard. Changing a workplace environment is hard. It's difficult. It takes time. But you need to evaluate your progress, your outcomes. Go back, re-examine the workplace. Are we really where we want to be? Or have we missed something? And sometimes when you put process change in place, sometimes you create new issues that you may have to go back and reevaluate again as well to make sure that they become what you want and what further changes you might need to make. So that's the organization's viewpoint. What about the manager's role? Managers need to recognize that negativity at the workplace is a result of what? Bad behavior. Poor attitude. It's not the person. Everyone is valuable. Everyone is a good person. It's just their behavior sometimes that we don't like. So managers need to ensure that when they address the issues, they're addressing the behavior and not the person. You don't attack a person's character. You discuss their poor behavior. You want a better outcome. Because all I need to do is go to any one of you and say something that you don't like, and immediately you're on the defensive. And how successful am I going to be in that discussion? I might as well close the book and leave. It's not going to happen. So some things you can do as a manager: provide opportunities for your workers to make decisions about their work, how they can control their work. I know you have to work within parameters and not a lot of flexibility sometimes in different workplaces, but where you can find the opportunity for employees to have that input, to have that control, to make those decisions, do it. It's important. Give workers opportunity to express their opinion about workplace policies and procedures. Just because they work there doesn't mean they automatically have to accept and like everything. Get their feedback, because sometimes they know more about the organization than we might as a manager because they're on the front line. So get their feedback and let them openly express it, their opinions. And as a manager, I need to listen to what they're saying and maybe to what they're not saying. Because a lot of times they have good, legitimate issues that we need to pay attention to. Have group discussions, have lunches, have one-on-one discussions or whatever. Find some avenue that works. Treat your workers as adults with fairness and consistency. How do you think about a workplace that I know a supervisor one time, and I need to be careful, but I'm going to say it anyway. But they said to their employees one time, I need to bring in a coloring book and crayons because of the way you guys act. That was respectful, wasn't it? Do you think they ever recovered the respect of their employees? Never. Never. Their employees weren't treated as adults. We can't be disrespectful as managers. Don't create rules for everybody when you only got one or two violators. Deal with the individuals, not the collective group, because the collective group didn't do anything wrong. They don't want to be punished for something someone else did. Help workers feel like members of a group. Share the same information with everyone. Don't tell one person one thing, another person something else, because, workers do talk. And they'll discuss what you said as a manager. And they're going to say, well, that didn't line up to what they told me yesterday. And so you're creating distrust within the organization, within your department. Give workers the opportunity to grow and develop their skills. Find something that they're really good at. Support them with that. Encourage them with that. Get them going with it. From an OH&S perspective, and this is something I like to do, or used to like to do when I was working, is go to a department and say, we need champions here. I know our organization has an occupational health and safety committee. I know that there are various members on the committee, and there may be someone from that department on the committee, or there may not be. But in spite of all that, we're going to form our own little thing here in this department, and I need someone who's going to be my first aid champion. I need someone who's going to be my women's champion. I need someone who's going to be my workplace inspection champion. Find something for each one of them to do and excel at, and support them at that. Again, you're giving them a sense of belonging. You're giving them responsibility. You're telling them, I trust you that you can do a good job at this. I will help you do a good job at this. It's amazing how quickly the negativity can turn into a positive atmosphere because someone has put faith in them. Someone has given them that additional responsibility. They've recognized some of their skill sets and gave them that opportunity to excel with those skill sets. And then support them in what they're doing. Provide good leadership and strategic direction. Mission, vision, values, and goals of the organization and of your department. Even if there's only 2 people. Doesn't matter. Provide appropriate rewards and recognition for a job well done. And of course, the other side that's a little more challenging as a manager, you need to challenge the pessimistic and negative thinking and expressions in your department. Challenge them. Don't let it continue. Face it up front. Confront the individuals with their unacceptable behavior. You need to let someone who's not behaving appropriately know that it's not acceptable and that attitude, that behavior must change. And you do that on a one-on-one basis, not within everybody watching. But be specific. We have a problem, I have a problem, and I need you to help me fix it. It's not you are a problem, you're creating a problem. As a manager, I have the problem because it's my responsibility to make sure this department, this unit works well. We have the problem. What I'm really saying is because you're part of it. You might be it. But basically, and I need you to help me fix our problem. Be inclusive. Involve them. But confront them. You need to be assertive towards them to let them know you're not going to accept their bad behavior. And then, again, as a manager, don't get caught in the negativity cycle. Like I said, it's contagious. It's easy to get sucked into it. You know, how many times have we been somewhere and we rolled our eyes because someone's going to speak up? That's a negative reaction. And people will see it. And again, they're going to be influenced by how you behave. As a manager, and I've learned this a long time ago, I need to take time out. You're dealing with situations that are exhausting. An employee who has really been a challenge, and after you've confronted with them or you've been trying to deal with the situation, whether it's individual or the group, you are physically exhausted. You're mentally exhausted. Take a time out. You need to recharge your batteries. Because if you don't, I can guarantee you that the next situation you deal with in the next 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to be the negative person. Because that negativity has rubbed off. You're exhausted. Your guard has been let down, and you're not watching. And you can get sucked into that really quickly. So regenerate your positive, respectful batteries. Remember, we said it's something you really do have to work at. You're part of the team. You're not just the boss. You need to be part of the team. So your employees, even though they will respect you as the authority figure, they know that you're the boss, but you're also with them, one of them, helping them. You need to be part of that teamwork. And again, as a manager, your job is to help your workers succeed. The rest of it will look after itself. You will be productive. Your department will get the job done. Actually, they'll get it done much more effectively if there's that positive attitude and you're there showing that you care about them as individuals, helping them develop their careers, help them to become more active in the workplace by taking responsibilities and so forth that you're giving them, as I mentioned earlier. You need to give them that exciting challenge task to do and then recognize them for them when they succeed. Your job is to positively motivate your workers, to encourage involvement, and to support them in their ideas to make the workplace better. It's about interpersonal skill, emotional intelligence, and social interactions. Now, what's your role as an employee? What's my role as an employee? Because even though I might be a manager, I'm an employee because I report to somebody, so therefore I'm an employee as well. And we're getting close to the end. Every negative person has a story. And don't we know it? Because they love to tell it to us. Well, we don't really need to listen to the story. We don't want to hear the story. In fact, we all have the story. You tell me your sad luck story, I'm sure I can beat it. So I'll give you my support story. And you say, oh no, I got one better than that, and you're down that downward spiral. So when there's a negative story, we need to offset it. So as a worker, employee, I need to avoid spending time with a negative coworker. You know, I don't need to go have coffee with them if all they're going to do is dump on me and tell me all the bad things that are happening in the workplace and so forth. So limit that time if you can. If you still have to work beside them, and we do, then let's set some limits. You know, I really don't want to hear about that today. I don't want to hear that discussion. I don't want to take part in that discussion. So let them know that you've got limits. You're establishing your parameters of what you want to talk about. Don't be sympathetic to them because you're encouraging them. You know, it's one thing to acknowledge, yes, they've had a bad day. Yes, things haven't worked out well for them. Yes, they didn't get that promotion or they didn't get that raise or it didn't work out the way they thought it should. You can acknowledge that, but you don't need to be sympathetic and spend the next hour discussing it. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, but we have to move on. Stay positive. And let your coworkers know that you only want to discuss the positive things. I'd rather have a positive discussion. I find negative discussions really pull me down. They really discourage me, and I don't want to be discouraged. I want to be encouraged. So again, you make that positive step. Again, it's your attitude. It's your decision. Counterbalance a negative story with a positive one. You know, I really didn't have an exact experience like you did, but I had something similar. And do you know what I did about it? And turn it over to a positive outcome. Be prepared and willing to become an agent of change. Again, it goes back to I'm responsible for my workplace. I'm responsible for my attitude. I'm responsible for my behavior. I'm responsible for what happens outside of work and at home and so forth. The more positive you become, other coworkers will see that, and they'll want to spend time with you, not the other person. We all like positive people. We like people who treat us with respect. And you'll start finding that, they may have the same feelings, but just didn't know how to express it. They may not be comfortable in the trap that they're caught in as well, in that negative aspect, and they'll want to be with you because we like you better. You're talking positive. You're respectful about my opinions and my feelings. I want to spend time with you and not with them. So you will become that agent of change. Suggest to your negative coworkers that they might need assistance. It might be something beyond our control that we need professional help with through our EAP programs or the manager or HR, someone who can help them. Inform the manager of the situation. But bottom line is, speak up. Let people know, I don't want to be around that behavior. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to witness it. I don't want to see it happening in my workplace. So let people know you just don't like it. You don't want to take part in it. That you want to, and don't just leave it at that, but then bring it to what I do want to be. I don't want to become part of the negativity. I want to become part of the positivity. And in our workplaces, we see everything. And how you respond, and there's many things out there that can help us. And I'm just touching the surface here this morning. But there's different programs. I've seen numbers of programs in the past. There's things online. There's courses you can take and so forth. And you need to be selective which one will help you the best. As you go back and do that assessment, as you know what your needs are, then find something that will fit the needs specific to your workplace and so forth. But bottom line is, don't just go along with the flow. Like they say, any dead fish can go downstream, but it takes a real live salmon to go upstream. Have you ever watched salmon jump falls? And I've seen it in Newfoundland a number of times. That it's amazing how they can go against the current, how they can overcome the obstacle that's holding them back, but they will try and try and try again, and they will become successful. So speak up. Actually, there's something on the CBC radio just Tuesday when I was driving in about standing up to bullying in the workplace, standing up to those who were disrespectful, standing up, and I thought it was a really good program. And people were given different experiences, that they weren't going to become part of the negative side. They wanted to be part of the positive side. So in conclusion this morning, I only have a couple things to reiterate, and one is a respectful workplace is one where there is a respectful culture, and we need to learn how to develop that culture. The responsibility for developing that respectful culture is a shared responsibility. It doesn't belong to any one individual. It's shared between the employer and the employee, between my boss and me. And bottom line, each one of us, regardless of our position, we have the responsibility and you have the ability to make our workplace, your workplace, a respectful workplace by our attitudes and our behaviors. Again, which part of your person do you want to portray at the workplace? It's up to you. So it starts with you. So when you go back to your workplaces tomorrow or Monday, start the change. It's only small at first, but it's a start. And a year from now, look back and see what progress you've made. I'm sure that you'll be amazed. I'm sure that you'll be encouraged. And bottom line is, you'll feel better, your workplace will be better, your family life will be better. Because we bring negativity from work to home, from home to work, and we take it from work to home. And we need to put these things in their proper perspective and in their proper place. Thank you.